everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So today is another episode of Sew What's New, my crafting and sewing update, and I feel like I've had quite a productive couple of weeks, so I'm excited to share what I've been making with you. I know quite a few of you say that you feel like I do produce quite a bit of content for you on the weeks that I don't feel like I've been as productive, but this week I've had a few more involved makes, so I just feel like I've achieved something really, so I'm excited to share that. But before I get stuck into it, I just firstly want to say thank you very much to everybody who commented on my last video wishing me luck for the Leicester half marathon. That's now gone ahead, obviously, and I think a lot of you who were probably watching my video at the time, I would have already have ran it. Yeah, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. It was just so good. I haven't been part of an organised race or event since 2012, which was the last half marathon that I ran in Birmingham, and that was the year before Harry was born. So I haven't really been putting myself in for any organised races or anything like that, but just because family time takes up a lot more of my time these days, so I can't be as selfish as I used to be. And obviously 2 years ago I was supposed to have ran the full marathon, and I wanted to do it in my 40th year. That was the reason why I wanted to do it, and it had been quite a while since I'd run a full marathon, so I was training for that 2 years ago, but unfortunately it didn't go ahead because of flooding, and then it didn't go ahead last year because of COVID. So it was really nice to finally have it in the diary for this year, but obviously it got changed to the half marathon just due to numbers and that kind of thing. So on the day, the weather was awful, so bad. I've never ran in conditions like that where, no joke, the roads were like floods, just like rivers really, I suppose. So we were just drenched before we'd even crossed the start line. But there were quite a few from my running club running it, so 4 of us started running it together, and we were just stood at the start line with bin liners on, trying to keep ourselves as dry as possible before we went off. But then as soon as you were off, you were just running in these rivers of water down the road, and your trainers were just sodden, so I basically squelched my way the whole way round. But I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it really was such a sense of achievement that I felt at the end. And being part of an organised event like that, I had forgotten how good it felt, and just to have the support of the people around on the course, and that you basically run through the town centre as well, so you got the shoppers cheering you on. And at one point I think we were running up one of the main high streets in Leicester, and this chap was at the sideline. He said, you know, "Oh, this is great, what are you doing, a marathon?" We said, "Oh, the half marathon." He said, "Well, what mileage are you at?" And we said, "Oh, about 12. "That's brilliant, come on," you know, really shouting. It just really got you going, and just was such a good atmosphere. And yeah, I just felt a great sense of achievement and euphoria at the end of it, and it really gave me the buzz to want to do another one. So I really do want to do another one again, hopefully next year at some point. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to have to travel too far and stay over anywhere and be away from the family, so I'll try and stick to as local as possible. But yeah, it did give me the bug again to get into doing it. You know, I have missed it. So I've been training with my partner Bob from my running club every Wednesday, and we hadn't really put in enough mileage, to be honest. Usually I train up to about 10 miles, and we only did up to about 7.5, but I do blame the dark evenings that we had because we didn't really want to stay out too late, so we only really managed to fit in sort of that mileage. But on the day I managed to get, I think, to about 11 miles, and I just had a brief walk for about a minute, and then was like, no, what am I doing, let's get going again, because I really wanted to do it without stopping. And then right at the end there is quite a hill, and it's about 1 kilometre long. It's called New Walk in Leicester, and it just goes on and on and on. So right at the end, that is what you have to go up. And it was funny because when we set off, the 4 of us together, I just start going off at my natural pace, and whereas I think Bob was trying to keep us contained and say, let's pace ourselves at the beginning, and so I started going off, and all he kept saying was, "Karen." and then when we got to the bottom of New Walk, he's better at going up hills than I am, and so he started going off, and then I was like, "Bob." It was just so funny, but I just absolutely loved it. So thank you ever so much for all of your kind messages. And obviously the day before, Harry did his cross-country race as well, so that weather was awful as well. So he was just basically running in a mud bath, bless him, in his like PE shorts and t-shirt. Oh my goodness, he must have been so cold. It was just awful weather. We were under a massive golf umbrella, so kept relatively dry, but he absolutely loved it, really did. And I think he's quite competitive. So it was nice for him to be part of a competitive sport, and obviously it's running, so he taken after what I like to do. But he really did put some effort in. You can see on the photos that my husband took, the effort in his face is just brilliant. I mean, I don't have them to share with you because they're on my husband's phone, I think, and he's not here at the minute, so I haven't been able to download them, unfortunately. But yeah, he just loved it, and he's going to be doing the next race as well. So yeah, that was nice. Oh, and I forgot to show you my medal, actually. So this is my medal for the Leicester half marathon. I was really pleased with that one. I think it's a really nice one. When I did the Leicester marathon a few years back, it wasn't a very good medal, and I think everybody that did the marathon got the same one as the half marathon, so we were a little bit like, oh, you know, wanted something better. But this one's quite a good one. It actually reminds me of the Great North Run ones that I had when I first did them. My first half marathon I ran was in 2006, and then the last time I ran a half marathon was 2012. So that was the Birmingham half marathon, and that was a year before Harry was born. So that's why it's been such a long time since I've done an organised run like this. So yeah, it was so nice. But unfortunately, because the weather was so bad and my husband was on call, he actually got called out. So when I got home, my mum and dad were here looking after the boys, so I didn't have like anybody meet me at the finish line or anything like that, unfortunately, because he was on call. He couldn't come into town, and then when I got back, he wasn't here for me to say, yeah, I did it, you know, and stuff. But it was nice to see my mum and dad, obviously, and the boys were just, yeah, loved it. They were like, oh, you're so wet, you know, because my clothes were just sodden. And Harry's bagsed this this medal, so he's going to be having that. And I said, well, that would be for your cross country run that you did. Yes. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get on with what I've been sewing then. So firstly, I will share with you what I am wearing, because obviously you can see that I've got something new on, and it's the Nielsen Darling Ranges dress, and I absolutely love this pattern. I've had it for quite a while. I took inspiration from Sally from Secret Life of a Seamstress, as she has made quite a few, and she has a video all about the ones that she has made, and I think she also has a sew along as well on her channel. So I had this fabric kindly gifted to me from Felicity Fabrics, and it's in return for a blog post, so that will be going live on their website at some point over the next month or so. And I just absolutely love how this dress has turned out. I wasn't disappointed at all, and this fabric has been so nice to sew with. It's a cotton fabric, and I was a little bit worried that it was going to be a little bit sheer, but it's not at all. You can't see my underwear underneath it or anything, which is a good thing. But it's got this lovely V-neck, and it's actually finished with bias binding, but the way you attach it, it acts like a facing, and it just sits all the way around the neckline really nicely, and then you sew sort of down the button band. And I've got these lovely wooden buttons on which say handmade with love. It's got a gathered sort of waist area, and then I've also got pockets in it as well here, and it's got these lovely sleeves which have got elastic at the bottom. So I made a size, I think it was a size 6 on the bodice, and I made a size 8 skirt, because I thought, well, you gather the skirt to fit the bottom of the bodice, and I really do like how that works out, really, because it's nice that you don't have to grade as such between two sizes. So when I firstly made up the bodice, I did find that it was a little bit tight across my bust. So what I did was I just overlocked the seams together, so I didn't really use too much of a seam allowance. The seam allowance for this pattern is 1.5 centimetres, so I just literally overlocked the sides. And then I think I used 3/8 of an inch on the side seams of the skirt, just to err on the side of caution, but actually I could have just used the 1.5 centimetres, no problem, so next time I will do that. So basically, in hindsight, I should have just made the straight size 8, because I do feel that these sleeves should be a little bit more roomy than what they are. I mean, they don't feel uncomfortable at all, but they definitely should have a little bit more room in them, I believe, and the shoulder seams aren't quite on the edge of my shoulders, so I think they should be a little bit more over here, and they're kind of there, so maybe just a little bit more here. So if I did the size 8, I think that would make the difference. Now, when I finished this dress, I was trying it on throughout sort of the construction process, and then when I finished putting the buttons on and tried it on, I found that I had a lot of gaping around the neckline here. I mean, there was quite a bit, so I did actually film a video where I was talking to Angela at Devon Threadtails and asking her advice about the fitting of that, and if it was a fitting issue that maybe I should have made some kind of adjustment or something. So what I will do is insert that video so you can see the difference to the neckline now as to how it was. So I'll insert that now for you. Hiya! So I thought I'd just show you the dress. So this is the gaping that I'm talking about here. It looks as though it's about, I don't know, like half a centimetre too long around that neckline on both sides. I've got the gaping. And it's more noticeable. Like if I turn to the side, can you see like that? And then the back, actually, the neckline, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Let me see if I can move my hair. But look at that, see? And I have to kind of pull it down to stop it doing that. But the neckline at the back seems really low as well, so I'm not really sure what that fitting issue is. I mean, sorry about this, a bit shaky, but it's fine if I like cover it with my hair. You're not going to notice it, right? But obviously if I wear my hair up, then that's going to be really noticeable. I mean, I might give it a steam with the iron and see if that makes a difference. The dress itself fits fine, you know, I've got no gaping at the buttons here, so that fits all really nicely. It does actually feel quite a lot roomier, so I think I might end up adding those ties just to bring that in if I wanted to a little bit. I don't know, I'm going to leave it off for the time being, but I might add those ties. But yeah, it's just, can you see that? I don't know what that fitting issue is. Any ideas? But otherwise, it's a comfy dress. It's just a bit unfortunate about that, but I might just give it a press, see if that makes a difference. It's not going to stop me from wearing it. There's nothing I can really do about it now, is there? I don't really want to put a dart in it. I don't know, unless I can put a dart at the back somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, this is what it's looking like. So it'd be interesting if you make it, if you have that issue around there. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has had that issue. I've not had a look. I'll have to have a look on the hashtag. Anyway, catch you later. Bye. So it was actually a fitting issue that I needed to do. So it was an adjustment that I needed to make to the pattern piece for it to sit as flat as it is now. And I also contacted a friend of mine on Instagram called Caroline, who has made this dress, and she had made a few modifications to the bodice for her version. So I contacted her and just asked her advice also. And she had actually squared off the shoulders because the way the pattern is designed, it has got a slightly sloping shoulder here. So what I did in the end was that I had to go in, unfortunately, and unpick the facing on the inside on the shoulder seams, and then to basically take in the shoulder seams sort of this side, I took off a wedge at an angle. So I used a bigger seam allowance here and then graded out to nothing at the edge of the shoulder, just so it took that excess that I had out on each side. There was quite a lot, as you saw in the video, so it's a lot flatter now, and it sits where it's supposed to, because actually this V here was a little bit too low, I did find as well, so it now sits in just the right place. And as you can see, I've got my Poppy on, which I made for the first project from the Autumn Embroidery Club by Poppy Treffry. So it's Armistice Day today, so I'm wearing that in tribute to our fallen soldiers. But yes, this dress, I'm so happy with it. It was a really nice sew, really easy to sew as well. And I don't think made a Megan Nielsen pattern before, and I just found that their instructions were really thorough. They've got illustrations in there which are very clear. The instructions are very clear that go alongside the illustrations, and they had lots of like tips and hints along the way as well, just to sort of give you a little bit of guidance if you needed it. And I just found that it was just so clear. I mean, like, in comparison to Tilly and the Buttons instructions, as you know, she holds your hand throughout the sewing process as well. I just found these ones were a little bit more on point, where they were more direct, I suppose, and weren't sort of going all around the hills and roundabouts to get to the point, if that makes any sense to you. Yeah, so I really enjoyed making this and using a Megan Nielsen pattern, so I will have to have a look at what other patterns they've got. But I have obviously got it on today, and it's a little bit chilly outside, so I've just got it on with some skin coloured tights, and I've put it on with trainers. It looks really nice, and I'll pair it with my denim jacket, but I just had my raincoat on this morning because it was a bit drizzly and stuff, and it'd be perfect for in the spring and summer as well, because it is very lightweight. So I'm really pleased with this dress. Yeah, like I say, it was a really nice sew, and it was relatively quick, so I highly recommend it if you've not made one before. So that was the first sort of make that I did, and then the second thing that I've been sewing up, I'm only going to give you a sneak peek of this because it's actually a pattern test for Julia at Bobbins and Buttons. Now in my last video I spoke to you about the fact it's going to be the adult version of the Alice dress, the girls version, which I made for my neighbour next door. And everybody was saying that she should bring it out as an adult pattern, so she has done. It's just, the deadline's just gone for everybody to return their feedback on the pattern, so she's going through that stage at the moment where she's having a look what everybody's feedback is, and then hopefully it'll be released very soon. I know she is very eager to get it out, so I've made it in a lovely chambray fabric that I had from the Remnant House, which I've had for quite a while, so I'm going to literally give you a sneak peek of this. All I can say is that this dress is just so nice. I really enjoyed the sew again on this one. The construction is slightly different to the way the girls version is done. It's got seam lines that go all the way down the front, whereas on the girls version it doesn't. It's more of a panelled sort of section from the middle down to the skirt, and then you incorporate the pockets. So literally I was a little bit confused as to how it was going to be constructed together. But it went together absolutely fine. The fit is just lovely on me. I'm really, really pleased. And what I had to do was grade between two sizes for that. And again, I just winged it and managed to do it just spot on. So it fits me just perfectly, because I was a little bit worried that my grading wasn't going to be any good, especially where the pockets are, you know, when you've got two sort of, because it's not like a straight dress where you've got basically the seam lines going all the way down the side. You're using panels and got pockets as well, so grading isn't as easy, so I managed to do it. And I think I was messaging my friend at the time and she said, you know, don't doubt yourself because you're better than you think you are. And she was right, you know. I do doubt myself sometimes with my sewing and think that I'm not very good at doing certain things, but actually I think with the experience that I've been gaining over the last few years of doing quite a lot of dressmaking for myself, I've really gotten used to where I need to make adjustments for my body and where I need to make adjustments on the pattern, so I'm getting used to doing that, so that was really good. I can't wait to share it with you in full. It's such a lovely dress. Yeah, and it turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to, actually, because obviously with it being a girl's dress initially, I did wonder if I was going to look a bit silly in it as an adult, but no, I really, really like it. So yes, that's done. One thing I didn't mention about the dress that I'm wearing actually was that it comes with waist ties that you can you sew on afterwards at the back, but I've not added them, so I've still got them pinned to the paper pattern piece, and that's two there. So you can see that they're really quite short. So I haven't added those on yet because actually it's not too bad around the waist. You know, I've got quite a bit of room there. If I wanted to bring it in, there is room, but I quite like the loose effect on it. And I've been messaging another friend on Instagram, Kim, who she's been making the dress up at exactly the same time as me, just by pure fluke. And we've been contacting each other and talking through the sort of sewing process and sharing photos with each other, so that's been really nice, you know. So she didn't have a problem with the neckline, I don't think, so it must be maybe my shoulders are a bit squarer or something, I'm not really sure. So that's that. I'm halfway through making the Millie dress by Bobbins and Buttons. So I made my summer version, which I'll insert a photo of here, and now I'm just making the classic denim one. So I haven't got very far with it. I say that, I've cut it out and I've attached basically the front and the back pieces together. So that's the front of the dress. You're not going to see this very well, it just looks like a load of denim fabric, but you can see that I've got the back piece attached here, the bust seams there, bust seams, what do you call them? I can't remember now. Bust darts, that's it. And then the other back panel is there, so I've got to put the top piece on there. And then I've also attached the pockets. I don't know if you can see those, they are blending in. And I have done 2 rows of top stitching, just with some black thread really. That's all I've got. I didn't want to do a contrast colour because I want this to go with lots of different coloured tops. So I'm in the middle of sewing that one up, and that's going to be a blog post for Julia at Bobbins and Buttons as well. So once I get that finished, I will share that with you. And what I'm going to do is sew a cocoa top to go with it. So I don't know if I showed this fabric with you or not, shared this fabric with you or not actually, but it's a lovely navy and white French terry fabric. So I'm going to make the cocoa top to go underneath that basically. So I think that would be a really nice pairing. And also what I have done, I haven't overlocked this yet, I've just literally sewn it together, is I've used a smaller seam allowance. I've only used 3/8 of an inch seam allowance for the same size that I made previously, as it's 5/8 of an inch seam allowance as standard. And the reason I've done that is because I didn't want to size up, but because I'm going to be wearing a top underneath it, and my other one I just had it with just my bra on underneath, I thought I probably will need a little bit more wiggle room to wear with tops underneath, just so there's a bit more, yeah, just a bit more room basically. So that's the sewing that I've been getting up to. I've finished my Falling Leaves notebook cover for the Poppy Treffry Embroidery Club. So this is it here now, all finished. So I did finish off that leaf. Yeah, and I'm really pleased with how that looks. So this was a notebook that was bought for me for my birthday from my friend, and I haven't written in it yet because I wanted to do the note cover on it. So I'm really pleased with how that's looking. Yeah, really nice. And that was really nice. I mean, you can cover anything, you know, really, books, photo albums and things like that. So that was a really nice project. And I've had through recently the last few projects for the Poppy Treffry Embroidery Club, and I'm going to skip ahead to the Christmas one, which was the last project that we received, because it's actually a 12 days of Christmas table runner, and I just think that'd be a really nice one to get done for Christmas. So I'm going to jump ahead of the last sort of few projects that were ahead of that, yeah, and get that done, because I think that'd be really nice to put on the table at Christmas. So I mean, I don't know what our plans are at the minute, but it's coming around fast, really fast. And then lastly, what I've been getting on with is a little bit of crochet. And you might have seen this on my Instagram, but I have made Cyril the Sprout. That's what I'm calling him anyway. And if you watch Claire from Claire Who Makes Things, she has made these, and she kindly gave me the pattern for me to make my own up. And yeah, I really, really like how it's turned out. And I've just used the neon green wool that I already had in my stash. So it is a little bit vibrant. And I didn't have any pink to do the little cheeks for him, but my mum has sorted me some pink wool out that she's already got. So I'm going to add those on at a later date. And I'm just halfway through doing the second one. So you can see that's what it looks like, a pea at the minute. And then I've been doing the leaves to go on the outside of it. So you obviously crochet those separately, and then you attach them on around the side. I've done like 3 at the minute. I think you have to do 5, so you can see that that's how they would kind of go round as per this one. And Thomas has already sort of taken this one off me, and he opens it up and says, "Oh look, it's a flower." Which is yeah, I thought, oh, well, that's quite a good idea. You could make a flower version, but yeah, it's a nice little sprout. And you just use double knit for that, and a 3.5mm crochet hook. Really, really like doing those. So I'm going to make a few of them and have them as like table decoration. So I think I'm just going to make as many as I feel like, and then just put them in a bowl and put them on the table for a Christmas decoration. But I'm going to see if I can get some different coloured green wool, because they're all a bit bright. I'd rather have a bit more of a muted green, so I might have to go to the Hobbycraft and see about getting some wool then. But yes, that's all my sewing that I've been doing. So I do feel like I've had quite a productive couple of weeks. I have managed to get quite a lot of sewing in this week, because my husband's been away on a first aid course in Birmingham, so he's been stopping at his parents'. And you know, there is that phrase, isn't there, while the cat's away, the mice will play, and I have certainly been doing that. I've had my sewing machine out every single day. It's been really nice, although I will be welcoming him back with loving arms, because the boys, they're being quite a handful at the moment, and looking after the 3 of them on my own is quite challenging, especially with the twins. They are, yes, pushing the boundaries, let's just put it that way. Not just at home, but at school as well. Oh, goodness me. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed what I've shared with you today. Please do hit that all-important like button for me, as YouTube will then share my video with other people who are interested in sewing. And please also do consider subscribing if you've not already done so. That would be lovely. Until next time, take care. Bye.